How do you add humor to your narrative? Hi, my name is Cameron and I'm a fantasy author. And in my story, The Great Fantasy Story, link in bio, I try to do what I can at different points to add bits of levity. Now, generally speaking, fantasy stories are all about the mystical parts of the world, things that are different from what we understand. Magic, creatures, different runes and races and gods and goddesses and all of this different stuff. But between all that, comedy can still exist. Oftentimes, the situation that we throw our characters into carries with it a lot of weight, namely politics or battles or things of that nature. Amidst all that, though, is a bit of absurdity. There has to be a bit of silliness when making make-believe. And admittedly, that can be difficult at times. Not everyone is geared towards writing for comedic scenes. Perhaps you're more focused on romantasy aspects or combat, something that elicits more of a visceral sensation. So here's a rule that you can follow if you're trying to find something to elicit a sense of humor. And it's one that you might be familiar with, borrowing from different rules of improv. It's to find the first unusual thing and hammer that home. What's brilliant about that is that it doesn't matter how silly or foreign the world you're building. What remains true is that the status quo is disaffected by this unusual thing. Let me give you an example. In The Great Fantasy Story, I just got done writing a specific part that had our characters gathering around the fire in the middle of a desert. They're at an encampment site and everything is disfamiliar to them. And it's a bit of a serious situation. They are in the middle of a desert. They don't know who they're surrounded by as other people are coming and going from the site. But what's in the middle of the site is a sign that says, "No fighting, if you're sleeping together, please be quiet, and please shovel your own horses blank." And that gives the characters, Torin, Samira, Mydris, and Sakaar, a moment to be like, well, that's kind of interesting. Politeness in and of itself is unusual, and it's funny, especially in spaces where you're promoting a sense of seriousness, because it makes sense in this world of severity that there is a bit of order. But that order represents a dichotomy to the issue at hand. That is that our friends are just trying to survive as they make their way through the desert. All of it represents the rule of finding the first unusual thing. Play your scene naturally, let it breathe, let it develop. And then, if you want to make people laugh, find something that feels out of the ordinary and hammer on it. Maybe somebody's armor is an odd color, or perhaps what's being served for dinner is something that you wouldn't expect. Humor, in and of itself, is a fine instrument, not some blunt hammer. And when you target it in the right moment, it can make all the difference towards drawing your reader in.